All right, guys, welcome back. We are going to be looking at Unit 1, Lesson 2, The Black Legend. Today's objective, students will be able to develop a deep understanding of the treatment of natives and the lifestyle of the Spanish Empire. So we are going to be looking specifically today at how the native populations on this continent interacted with the Spanish specifically. And you're also going to be considering agency as part of the Pueblo in the Pueblo Revolt. Our language objective for today, students will be able to verbally and in writing choose a side of the legend, the Black Legend, which we'll talk about, of the legend system that is more accurate and defend it with evidence and vocabulary from the text. Our essential question, sort of the overriding question of the day, is asking you to consider, is there an accurate recounting, a true retelling, of European influence on the people of North America, why or why not? So it's basically asking you, do you believe that there is an accurate or truthful retelling of how the Europeans influenced the people that were in North America before they got here? Yes or no? Today's tasks, ultimately you need to finish this document and make sure you turn it in, and then there's a mastery check that needs to be taken and submitted in Edulastic. Let's take a look at our vocabulary for the day. We have 4 of them. They're a little bit more conceptual rather than just straight vocabulary words. The first one is encomienda. It's a system whereby the Spanish crown gave colonists the right to demand tribute and forced labor from native inhabitants. So a sentence that helps you better understand this: the laborers in the encomienda, the system, were provided with, quote, benefits by the conquerors for whom they labored, the Catholic religion being their principal benefit. This is definitely a one-sided system. The Spanish benefited where the native people were definitely forced into really uncomfortable and terrible situations, primarily because they were given Catholicism as their benefit. The next word is agency. It's the ability of people to change their situation. The Pueblo Revolt is a really great example of that. In 1680, they drove the Spaniards out of Santa Fe for several years after they took agency over their own land. We do know there's a lot of power in the Spanish and kind of struggled with agency. And the next one is Black Legend. It's a style and system of writing that was critical of the Spanish Empire. It basically painted them as the bad guys in colonization. England was able to use this idea of Black Legend to justify its own colonization of North America, and have even embellished those tales to show truly how cruel and inhumane the Spanish were. That is not to say that the English were any better, but they definitely had this very specific style of writing that painted the Spanish in a very bad way. The last one is going to be White Legend. So we have a Black Legend and a White Legend. The white one is the approach to history that is uncritical of the Spanish. It's kind of pro-Spanish and their conquest of the New World, and it's often this idealized view. They came and gave better things to the people. It was good for them. So unlike this Black Legend, the White Legend is pro-Hispanic, attempting to counterbalance the anti-Hispanic, anti-Spanish perspective. Black Legend, Spanish are bad guys. White Legend, Spanish are good guys. In so much as we're using quotes on both of these. You're due now for today. You're looking at this image, and then you're going to answer these questions here on the right. If you look at the image, you see it's titled The Black Legend, and it comes to us from 1498. So consider 1498 and the Black Legend. Question number 1 is asking, notice the date on the image. Why is it important that it's in 1492? Or why is it important to note that the date happens after 1492? What about that? Number 2 is asking you, what about this image stands out to you? So when you look at this, what are the things that really catch your eye? And why? Number 3 is asking you what appears to be happening. So if you had to describe this to somebody, they could not see it, what would you describe? How would you describe what's happening in this image? Make sure you're looking in the foreground or like up front, and also in the background, so back in the back. And then last but not least, question number 4 is asking you to infer or like take a guess based on what you see. Who do you think these different groups of people are? You might want to stretch it even and say like, how do you know that? What about it suggests that to you? Once you're done with that, you can come back and we'll look at part 1, excuse me, before the Europeans, but follow the link to the video below.